Welcome everyone. Today we are playing Camp Flying Moose for girls of all kinds. It's a game that was available in the Racial Justice and Equality bundle by Alicia Furness. So yeah, I think it's a really interesting, played prior by the Apocalypse game. Quite nice and pastoral and a little bit of mystery. So looking forward to playing it. My name is Donna. My pronouns are he, him, and I'm running the game. So let's get an intro from our other players and their characters, left to right on the character keeper, I think is our tradition. So let's start with you, Cass.
Right. I'm Cass, he, him. This is my first Gauntlet game since the Gauntlet community open gaming, and I'm very excited about it. I am playing Izzy, whose pronouns are she and they. This is her first time at camp. She's tall and athletic and loves to help others and climb, and is mostly looking forward to making new friends because all of her friends back home are off traveling, so she's been abandoned for the summer.
Hi, yeah, I'm Emma. My pronouns are she, her, and I am going to be playing Paula, who has been on the camp for just a year. It's not her favorite thing to do. She would rather be doing some other things, maybe practicing piano or something more, but she still keeps being forced here and is still determined to make the best out of it, and particularly meet a lot of other people, which is kind of her deal. So yeah.
To find my thing. I'm Maria, I use she, her pronouns, and I will be playing Petal, who also uses she, her pronouns. She has probably been at camp the most out of everyone. It's her third year here, which means she knows all the best hiding spots. She's kind of this like, I feel like she's a kid of like an kindergarten arts teacher or something, because her style is just like, let me wear this print on top of this other print on some top of some tie-dye, and like also my shoes don't match. So she's just like a bubbly all over the place best friend with like a strange dog squirrel type of person. So yeah, she will be doing her thing whenever she can.
Yeah, and so I'm Jamie. My pronouns are they, them. I've been in the Gauntlet just I want to say, I can do math, a year and a month? Yes-ish. I mean, a month and a half, something like that. I can do math. And so I'm super excited to play this game. I'm really happy that Donna has been running games from the Racial Justice and Equality bundle. Very good stuff. So I'm playing Jasmine, who uses she, they pronouns. Jasmine is round and soft, gives the best hugs, but she's not very good at giving hugs because her friendship is -1. And her clothes are, she is a self-styled white witch. She inherited the witch hat from her grandmother, and her mother was a witch who served the community, and Jasmine is hoping to do the same. Jasmine has always been able to see ghosts and interact with them and other strange creatures. So it's much easier for her to make friends with the ghosts rather than anyone else. Speaking of which, her best friend at camp is Scary Susan, who likes to stare at people. She's just very interested. She's just very, very interested. But yeah, and Scary Susan's trying to get Jasmine to open up and come out of her shell. And it's her first time at camp. This is her first year because the last camp closed down due to mysterious circumstances. And that's about it for me and Jasmine.
Okay, great. So I think what I would like to open on is at the close of the day, maybe you've had one last activity, and you've got maybe some time before things get dark, and you have to you're expected to go back to your cabins. So Izzy, what activity have you just finished up, and what was kind of exciting or thrilling about that?
So we had a last game of capture the flag as the sun was going down, where you get that time where the light's starting to fade and it's hard to tell friend from foe, and you're running back and forth, and it becomes less of a game and more about just wearing yourself out before the end of the night. And the most thrilling part of that was I managed to distract some of the other team just because I'm tall, I make an easy target. And while I did that, one of the other girls from our cabin managed to score the winning point. So I'm still riding that high.
Cool. And Paula, I think maybe they were on the losing side, or maybe someone didn't do too well. But one person who you've taken a liking to is a little bit upset after that capture the flag game. What have you done to, who are they, and what have you done to cheer them up?
Yeah, so I think I've been walking back to the cabins with them after the game has ended, and I'm just trying to really downplay the outcome and really focus on the cool moves that they got to do, and just how I was cheering for them the whole time, even if I was doing even worse, right? So yeah, I think it's kind of that vibe. We just had a fun time, and look, I also had fun even if I lost by all the metrics possible.
Yeah. And what's the girl's name? I didn't catch that.
It could be maybe Marta, for example.
Martha, sure, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And Petal, I'm wondering, this doesn't seem like your, or this seems like exactly the kind of thing where you could have brought your expertise to bear, your good hiding spots and such. Who did you have to let into some of your little secret spots to help win the game, or to have fun during the game?
I think it's somewhat like maybe it's the other person in our cabin. They were, I think they were even shorter than me, and they weren't particularly having fun chasing people because you gotta work extra hard when you have short legs. So I think her name is thinking of names, Louisa, and maybe I showed her just like a little tiny, a stream not far away from the field where everyone else is running, and I was like, okay, you just hide here and I will try and distract people so that no one knows that you are not currently playing capture the flag, and if anyone asks, you got lost somehow, but I'll come get you at the end.
Okay, cool. And Jasmine, you can, so it says, right, in your move, quick by quiet, you have mastered the art of moving swiftly and quietly. Is this, really practice, or is it a little bit supernatural? Is this just that you do not make any sound when you walk, not that you can?
Yeah, I think it's something it's something my grandmother always had, and then she passed away, I was suddenly able to do it as well. So it feels like it's something that passes on. And so my mother's not happy about that.
And I think if it's all right with you, I wonder if your cabin counselor has noticed this strange ability of Jasmine's. We haven't done any details on your cabin counselor, so now is our chance. What's her name and what's she like?
Ooh. I was going to say Becky, but I remembered that Becky carries a connotation in the States. Should we use a different name?
I mean, connotation or no, it is the name that people have.
I am not aware of the connotation, but I am happy to ignore it one way or the other.
I watched an entire video essay about a Becky versus a Karen, and I was like, "Ooh, I'm educated." Okay. But yeah, I like Becky. I think it connotes how she is painfully by the book, like she carries the camp guideline code with her all the time.
Okay. And so do you think like she disapproves, or is just taking all this new information in about Jasmine?
Oh, every time I do it, I know I can look up and I see her watching me, and she just shakes her head and she takes note. And I'm like, I don't know what that means.
Okay, cool. I'm sure we'll get back to Becky by the by. So yeah, let's jump into some mysterious goings on. I think you hear, maybe as you're just getting back to camp, starting to get dark, you hear, what sounds like wolf howling in the distance up in the mountains. I guess that's not too unusual, but usually it's like a lone wolf, or at least one wolf howling. But this seems like a handful, and I think they sound really sad, So yeah, I think I think I'm interested in finding out who's been here the longest. Petal has, right? 3 years. Okay. What do people say about these wolves, and how unusual is this kind of behavior?
I think people say that like I think like some of the like the campfire stories at night, people talk a lot about a family much in like the olden days that used to live in these woods, and they talk about how they were always going to like the market, so like everyone knew like this family was there, but maybe they disappeared at a certain point, and now some of the campers are like, but they're werewolves, which is why now we have these wolves in the woods. Okay. Or something like that.
Yeah. Sounds great.
It depends on which camper you ask and how old they are.
Yeah. So I know that Paula has just arrived. No, this is Paula's second year, so maybe she has heard these stories before, right? And you do have that move, Total Recall, about lore. So I wonder if you want to hit that.
Yeah. So something about the wolves, right?
Yeah, if you want to remember lore, anything you've heard about the wolves.
Yeah, I like that idea a lot. I think What I know, I always think of the creepy fairy tales, but I know that there's a story that there is always one wolf that if it comes close enough to camp, it can take off its skin and become one of the other girls.
Okay. And Emma, what about Paula? I think you might have that move, Total Recall, which is applicable in this situation if you try to remember lore.
Sure. So should I roll for that then?
Yeah. So I think I put the link to the Roll With Me room in.
Oh, right. We have
Yeah.
like a page for that. Cool.
So
Didn't know this page actually.
So if you haven't, I'm going to close my curtain because we're getting the 30 minutes of sunlight that we get right now.
30 minutes.
Hold on for a minute.
Gosh. I was attacked by the sun all day today.
With this window up here, I never get sun in my face, and I do not miss it in the slightest.
Well, this is at the moment, this time of year, I don't know, we get like 7 hours of sunlight a day, so it's it's pretty dark most of the day. So it seems a shame to be closing the curtain for
That's
one of
fair.
those
That's very fair.
glorious sunbeams. Okay. Speaking of,
I thought it was the wolf sound effect.
yeah, that happens every so often. And the last time this happened was in the middle of a Monster Hearts game where there were werewolves. So I think.
Oh my gosh, so cool.
Bailey, my dog, is well trained for sound effects. So I don't know if you've used Roll With Me before.
Not really, never.
Okay, let me share my screen. It's pretty straightforward actually, as these things go. So on the left hand side, we've got a bunch of dice, and if you click on it, it'll bring out a die and roll it at the same time. Okay, and you can pick a color if you want to change a color. Okay, and then if you want to, I mean, obviously you can just keep re-rolling dice, but you can move them around if you want just by dragging them. And then if you want to re-roll some dice, you just click on one and click on the other, and then at the bottom of the screen you'll see this re-roll selected dice option, and it'll spin them so you know that even though you got the same result, it's a fair re-roll. Okay, so yeah, it's really straightforward.
Yeah, cool.
Pretty intuitive. So, but like in most things, the first time you may not be sure. Okay, so. So when you
I think.
So when you try to remember lore, roll plus smarts. On a 10 plus, you've read about this. Ask 2 questions. On a 7 to 9, you vaguely remember. Ask 1, and on a miss, you tell your friends the wrong story. Okay, so pretty straightforward move. And there's 3 questions in that list. So yeah, why don't you roll and let's see how we get on.
Are there modifiers for this roll, or is it just oh yeah, it's smart?
It's plus smarts, yeah.
Cool, so I get a 7 then.
Okay, cool. So, so yeah, I guess it sounds vaguely familiar, right? And you get to ask 1 question off the list. So the questions are: what local stories are there about this? Is this lore that you find in different cultures? And what is one fact that the story gets wrong? And I must answer honestly.
I am naturally going to ask that last one.
Okay.
So yeah, we've heard different versions of these wolves. Maybe they were people, maybe they shift into girls or something like that. But there's like this one thing people don't really talk about or know. So
So yeah, and I guess there's a good opportunity for you to build on what Jasmine knows about. You can build out the story, and then you can like use that opportunity to ask the question. So if you want to play it like that, yeah.
Sure. So would this be something that I would be asking another character then?
Well, the question is one for me, right? So
Okay.
we're gonna basically establish that this thing is absolutely true, right? Even if we haven't thought about it until that very moment, right? It becomes true in the world once you ask the question and once I give the answer. So
Yeah, I think it was about the one fact.
or
that
the one
story
fact that
gets
the story
right.
gets wrong.
Is that right?
Yeah. So the story. So remind me, Jamie, what was the details of the story? Were
Sure.
there was a family here, maybe a long time ago, and then something happened that turned them into werewolves, and now they kind of live outside the camp. But one of them can enter the camp and becomes like a regular girl.
Yeah. If they take off their skin, they can become one of the girls, like take on their appearance.
Okay. The thing that story gets wrong is that that it wasn't so long ago, right? That it was maybe I mean, I don't know, to teenagers 20 years is a long time, right? But
forever,
forever, yeah,
I've been alive.
Yeah, so but I think it's more like it's not like 100 years like it would be for Susan. It's relatively recent memory where when they were cursed, or when they started to take on their werewolf form. So yeah, much more recent than that.
Yeah. So in that case, if that's something that I would know or I would vaguely remember, I think that I would then lean closer towards Jasmine and kind of whisper, just because I'm a bit too scared to say it out loud, but something along the lines of, I think they were just here, maybe 2 or 3 years ago. Um, do you remember Lara? What I've heard, she stopped coming here because she has joined them. But it's not it's just silly stuff people say. I don't think it's nothing of that's never.
And I think
I
when
say
you
to the witch.
Yeah. And I think when you talk to me at first, I'm like, oh, you're talking to me. Oh, okay. And then I say, Lara, yeah, we should look into it. Maybe that's if it's more recent than the stories. Yeah, someone who's good with words should ask.
Yeah, I do miss her a little bit. She was nice. And then I just quietly go awkward because I am the one good with words and no one there, no one around, I think is.
So yeah, Petal, I wonder what did you know Lara or her family or hear any of these stories back in the day?
Yeah, I think she was she's like my age and was like at another cabin, but it's totally true. Like she stopped coming for some reason. And I always thought that was like she found a different camp to go to. So when like Paula's talking about Lara, I'm like, wait, really? She she stopped coming. Did they eat her? Like, is that why she's not here?
I think that after a certain age, they just join the family and can't quite, be here as much.
So either she was eaten by a werewolf or she became a werewolf.
Yeah.
Both are not great.
No, not really.
Do you think she'd still know us though? Like if we went outside and like tried to talk to them? Like they
Want to
sound
talk
kind
to
of
the werewolf?
sad. Maybe they're lonely.
Well, I mean, is your squirrel dog nearby?
I never know if my squirrel dog is nearby.
Is a squirrel dog a Pomeranian, or is it some other kind of breed?
Oh
I
my
don't know.
gosh, it's definitely a Pomeranian.
Yes.
Oh my
please.
gosh. Oh my gosh.
Or something, or a strange squirrel who could pass for a Pomeranian.
Actually, maybe like every time the camera swings over, it looks different. Like this time
Yeah,
it looks more
yeah.
squirrel, the other time it looks more dog.
Maybe there's like this really high-pitched howl that is like, oh, yep, that's dog trying to be a werewolf.
Joining in. Okay, cool. Yeah, so what do you want to do? I wonder, well, actually, maybe right before we decide that, what does Izzy think of all this? All these shenanigans?
Yeah. So I guess we know that Jasmine is a witch. Do we have a sense of like whether the world outside of camp is aware of the supernatural, or is this new for Izzy because this is her first time here?
I mean, I kind of get the impression, right, that the camp is special, and a lot of things happen in the area which are unusual. So, but I think there's a world building question. I'm happy to leave to you. Has Izzy ever heard of supernatural stuff? And in a believable way before she's arrived in the camp.
Yeah, so I'm envisioning it sort of close to the Lumberjanes material. So at this point, Izzy, overhearing everybody talking about werewolves, like looks pointedly up to Scary Susan's bunk and says, "There's no such thing as werewolves, too, right?"
Like ghosts you could accept, but werewolves,
Yeah, ghosts I've had to accept because in the time that I've been here, like this is probably the same skeptical reaction that Izzy gave to Jasmine talking about Susan, but now it's like, okay, I've stomached Susan, and now there's this new thing that you're just rolling out in front of me in this cabin. How dare you?
And I sorry, I have to imagine, right? Jasmine is like a scary stories, campfire tales kind of person, right? So you may have been telling them all kinds of stories, some of them made up and some of them true. So sifting through those is going to be a bit of an interesting experience if now you're suddenly expected to believe werewolves on top of ghosts, right?
Yep. Yeah, I think that sums it up really well.
Okay, cool. Sorry, Jamie, you were going to say something?
Oh, no. I was just going to say, well, it's true that ghosts are easier to deal with. But werewolves, yeah, I mean, but we have to deal with it, right? I mean, if not us, it can't be anyone else, I think.
Honestly, maybe we can just focus on finding out what's been up with Lara, and we can leave the werewolf part a little out of it if we can avoid it. Hopefully we won't have to dwell too much on that.
I think we should talk to them. If they were once human, or if they are still part human, they probably understand us. And we can bring sandwiches. They understand sandwiches, I'm sure.
Yeah, everyone does, right? Even your squirrel dog.
Dog
I've seen
loves
them eat a few.
sandwiches.
Yeah.
Okay, so guess you head back to cabin and pack some lunch or some supper, or some breakfast food masquerading as second dinner, and pack up for a little trip and head to the mountains. Is that right? Okay. So yeah, I think your dog sees Petal packing up sandwiches, and dog likes sandwiches, and is interested in finding out where said sandwiches are going and if any of them are spare, and is tagging along because I don't know, think those sandwiches could fall out at any moment into his lap. So that's certainly a possibility that dog is keeping aware for. Do you have to sneak out or kind of obfuscate the truth or lie or anything to go out on this little trek so late?
Oh yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
we have to
I
set
think
up
that
a distraction.
yeah, sneaking out of the camp at night doesn't seem like the most allowed thing here. Probably, I would hope.
Does Becky sleep in our cabin? Do we have to sneak past Becky?
I don't think so. I think she is probably responsible for a couple of cabins and running activities and all that kind of stuff. But maybe the book tells her that she should be checking in with you, after dinner and making sure that any problems you have are taken care of and so on. So,
like clockwork.
Yeah, and maybe she wants to talk to you about the camp activity that you're doing the next day. I guess she has a favorite camp activity that she would do with you, which is maybe first thing in the morning. Izzy, what is that? What's her favorite camp activity?
Oh boy, let's see. I think that Becky really loves morning calisthenics. She likes to make sure that everybody limbers up before we go out for a day of heavy activity.
Okay, some people are like that. I'm not judging them. Being up so early in the morning and doing exercise on purpose, not my thing. But yeah, and I think I think maybe she comes to your cabin and you're, I don't know, in the middle of packing up or just finishing packing up, and she's going to be here at a certain time, right? Because that's what she always does. So she arrives like clockwork, and how are you? Are you dressed for bed, or are you kind of hiding under the covers? What's the how are you pulling the wool over her eyes? Let's start with Paula, I think.
Right. So the question would be, how do we get past her before she comes to check, right?
Well, either so. I guess one option is to sneak out before she arrives, in which case she'll wonder where you are, and the other option is to say pretend you're going to bed as normal, but then kind of fooling her and then going out after she moves on.
Yeah, I think the safest thing would be to pretend that we are asleep in that case. Yeah, just stand very quiet. If it's already past bedtime, it wouldn't be too difficult, I think, to just pass under her radar.
Yeah, okay. So how about Petal? Are you pretend to be asleep as well, or what's your approach?
I think I am under like the blanket, and I think like there's a lump where that lunchbox is. And maybe I haven't quite gotten all of the sandwiches under the blanket in time. So you just see like my hand reaching for like the sandwich that's like on the top bunk that I'm like trying to get under the blanket so she doesn't see it. But if she asks, I'm definitely just having a midnight snack.
Yeah, that's completely normal. And how about Jasmine?
I think when Jasmine sees that Petal might be in trouble, Jasmine would be like, "Oh, my stomach, it hurts. Oh, I better sleep right now. It really hurts. Yes." Like I'm trying to distract.
Okay. So yeah, I think maybe she knows what you're up to. Maybe she has seen all of this 100 times before, and but whatever it is, however she explains it, she just kind of accepts the story, or the fake snoring, or the quickly disappearing packed lunch, and ask you to have a good night, and she'll see you in the morning bright and early for calisthenics. Yeah, and I think somehow maybe this is by the book, right? Because this is an adventurous place, and no one really expects the campers to stay in their cabins for the night. This camp is about adventure and finding yourself, and if you lock people in the cabins, they're not going to do that. So maybe you think you're getting away with something, but Becky has the counselor level rule book, which tells her to let girls away with this kind of thing. So yeah, she smiles and closes the door behind her on the way out, and maybe pets dog, who is waiting there for the sandwich parade to come out. Okay. So yeah,
Are you telling me my super fixed loud snoring isn't tricking her? Like, for real?
I mean, I couldn't comment.
Okay.
I mean, maybe it is. Maybe she thinks it's the other three who are up to no good, and you are staying here with Louisa and Susan, and getting a good night's rest. Yeah, I think it's an interesting question for Izzy, for Petal, about Izzy, about Louisa, who is the girl you helped earlier during Capture the Flag. Is she tagging along, or is she very much, in the I'm in my bed, I'm comfy, I'm going to stay here and read a magazine and have a real midnight snack?
I think if she tries to say that, I think Petal's definitely going to be like, but you have to come out. It's your first year here. And if Izzy's going out, you should go out too, because this is like a camp thing. You have to experience all the camp things.
Okay, but you were talking about werewolves earlier, and that sounds kind of scary to me. Even if it's not real, it sounds scary to me. I mean, no, wait a minute. Otherwise, I'll be left here with Susan. So yeah, maybe I'm going. Maybe I'm
You
going.
have to come with us.
And Susan's like just waving it from the moonlight.
Because obviously there's a moon, right? With the werewolves and all. Okay, cool. So she hurriedly gets dressed and gets the lunch that she has prepared for tomorrow, and puts it in her little rucksack and joins up with you for your little trek. Okay, so yes, so you creep out of the cabin and hit the trail up towards the mountain where you heard the howling. Yeah, I think so. When you on the trail to get to the mountain, right, you pass through the fairy forest, and I think anyone who's been here any length of time has had a couple of strange experiences in the fairy forest. I guess this kind of place is very kind of, I don't know, Pacific Northwest or New England mountains and forests and all that kind of stuff. So very temperate, but sometimes in the fairy forest you come across these, really lush rainforest locations, or these, magical, flower or mushroom havens. Yeah. So does anyone want to jump in with a specific thing that they've seen in the fairy forest before? If anyone has any ideas.
So there's this beautiful little flower that under the light of the moon glows just this lovely, like, James Cameron Avatar blue sort of shade. And Izzy loves these things. And as soon as they're passing through the fairy forest, she immediately seeks one out, plucks it, and just tucks it behind her ear.
And these, do they glow in the moonlight? Do they kind of leave behind a trail of pollen or something?
Ooh, I love that. Yeah. So I think we're gonna call them pixie dust flowers, because they leave just this little trail of glowing blue motes that are a little more faint than the flower itself. But I could see if you were worried about getting lost, you might take one and shake it out as you go along.
Cool. Yeah. And I think usually if you come across something in the fairy forest, it's really difficult to find it again. It's like the terrain shifts in that kind of classical way. But I think, like you say, these things leave trails everywhere, and if animals pass through, you can follow their trail or whatever, and you can probably find your way into one of these flower groves relatively easily. Right? Okay, cool. So I think, yeah, maybe it's like an hour's trek to the foothills of the mountain. And dog is loyally following around, and maybe it's time to take a little break or sit down, or maybe this is the spot that you've chosen to try to meet the werewolf, or to meet Lara specifically. So when you take a break, what do you talk about? Are you looking forward, or just talking about stuff that's happened during the day? What kind of rest stop do you take?
I think even though it's I think maybe the moon is bright enough and we have those pixie dust flowers, Petal is going to try and take a group photo of everyone because she has her disposable camera. And I don't know what it's going to come out with later. But she's going to be like, okay, everyone, look excited to be exploring. Snap.
So is this like a Polaroid, or you have something straight away, or is it just like a normal digital disposable?
I think it's one of the old single-use Kodak, I don't remember, but they were yellow. They were yellow when I saw them.
The bright yellow. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah. And so it has a roll of film inside it.
Yeah.
In a week you'll get the pictures from the pharmacy or whatever. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. So you've no idea how it's going to come out. I think maybe if this were like a TV show, we would like have a flash forward to the pharmacist, right, developing it, and one of them, I think, you see glowing yellow wolf eyes in the background, right, behind you as you take your selfie. And I think in the moment, you kind of I think what warns you about this new arrival is Dog, drops the sandwich it's been eating and kind of scurries away, like so that you're between it and the wolf, right? Yeah, it's like Dog has dropped the sandwich. This is this is unheard of.
What's wrong with the sandwich? I put all the good stuff in it this time.
So yeah, I wonder who turns around, to see to the wolf first.
I think that maybe Paula is going to be putting like a tablecloth in the middle of the grass next to the tree we've sat upon, and she's like, we brought one of these picnic things where we put the sandwiches inside, and I'm just taking everything out, putting napkins, like trying to make a welcoming table for our guests. And as Petal is pulling out the camera, I'm just going to be like, oh wait, but like, don't wolves don't really like flashes? And then you like click it, and the next second I just turn, and I think that's when I see our little friends here.
Yeah. So yeah, I think it's not like a full-grown timber wolf. So if it's Lara, right? So it's like a kind of a juvenile, so a little bit smaller than usual, but still, big and scary, right? And even without any kind of hostile intent, those jaws and those teeth look big and scary and powerful. But I think Lara the wolf is like looking at the sandwich that Dog dropped, right? So I don't know if you want to give her the sandwich. That sounds like it would be the perfect time to make friends.
Yeah, can I try using the I ain't afraid of no ghosts? Does it apply to mysterious creatures?
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, like I described.
Unless someone else wants to do it, though. Yeah.
Well, I'll give first dibs to Paula if she noticed the wolf first. But I guess one of the aspects of that move, right, is that you're not scared of mysterious creatures. So, everyone else, maybe can't help but withdraw a little bit from this scary wolf that is a werewolf. But Jasmine's like, well, werewolf, schmerwolf, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I think that I'm very much scared and paralyzed, so please feel free to go ahead.
Yeah, I think the weird thing is, like, before this, Jasmine talked like she was worried, but in this moment, like, her face changes and she suddenly becomes calm, and she just picks up the sandwich and very slowly moves towards the wolf, making sure it's, oh, there's the wolf.
The wolf, right?
Terrifying. And like just making sure to move very close to the ground, trying to be as non-threatening as possible. Yeah, so let's see how it goes. Okay, yes. So I technically have that minus, but I also have my special move, so let's see how it goes.
Yeah, so the
Okay,
special...
it's a good thing I have that special because I rolled low to begin with.
Okay, so what's your total?
My total is a 5.
Okay, so when you ain't afraid of no ghost, if you fail a make friends roll, which you did when interacting with a mysterious creature, you may take the 7 to 9 result instead. So the 7 to 9 result on Make Friends is you make a tenuous connection with the creature. You may ask one question from the list. You may ask a second question, but you annoy the creature and take -1 forward. So the 4 questions on the list are, what is the name of the creature? Which I think we're giving you for free, right? What does this creature desire? How can we help this creature? And what is the mood of this creature?
Yeah, I want to ask, how can we help them? I think like the fact that they haven't been around, maybe there's something off. And the way that comes out is I say, Lara, I mean, I'm new here. I know we haven't met, but the other girls miss you and they're wondering how you are. Can we help?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's, it's a wolf, right? So it's a still not able to speak, but I think, she understands you and she can kind of communicate in return. So, so what she does is she kind of turns away and then like looks back, beckoning you to follow her. And she will lead you to a clue, right?
Yeah, I think I'm happy with that. I don't want to push it to ask the second question.
Okay. You're
I don't want to annoy a werewolf.
Yeah, well, does anyone else want to do anything else in this scene with Lara or with the others before we move on?
I think Izzy is still very skeptical of this whole situation and is like, are we really following a wolf into the woods? How do you even know it's a werewolf? It might just be a wolf. What are we doing?
Well, it hasn't eaten us yet.
Yet is the key word.
But it was looking at the sandwich.
Yeah. Plus,
Okay.
I do see some similarity between her and Lara. I think that if you look at the side, you can sort of like see it. I trust her.
Yeah. So, Paula, how do you know it's Lara? Even you came up here looking for her, but there was other werewolves. So how do you know it's her?
I think that it's a combination of the very kind of curly hair on its head, and then there's like a mole right next to its jaws, and I just know it's in the exact same place, so it has to be her.
Yeah, cool. Okay. And no wolf naturalists are better, write in to say wolves don't do any of those things because we don't care. Okay, cool. It's just coming up to the hour. I have 4 minutes to 3 my time. So we take another break for 5 minutes, if that's all right, and then we'll get back. Okay, cool.
Yeah, see you in 5.
Okay, so yeah, I guess we are seeing our group of friends follow the werewolf Lara through the forest. So maybe it's a little bit surprising. You're not going. We're not going into the mountains. We're now going closer to camp. So back, not through the route you took, but through a different route, but closer to the lake. The lake is called Lake Frog. There's no frogs in it, and it's very deep. I don't know, maybe it looks like a frog from aerial shot or something like that. It's another mystery to be determined. Okay, so yeah, I mean, what's the mood as you move back in following this wolf? Yeah, Izzy, let's start with you.
Sure. So I think that as Wolf Lara starts looping us back towards camp, Izzy sort of breathes a sigh of relief. Like this is sort of getting her back towards her comfort zone, and the fact that this wolf, who may or may not be a camper girl, like knows the way, is helping to settle her doubts a little bit. But she keeps looking to Paula just for like reassurance from her bestie.
And what reassurance does Izzy get from Paula?
I don't know. I think that Paula might be the type of person that the more scared she is, the more she smiles, sort of deal. So like you can see like the start of a cold sweat over there. Of oh boy, are we really following through this? I thought like Lara would just like take off her wolf skin and have lunch with us. Um, but it really is the sort of situation where she's trying to keep the mood light, just so you don't get too worried about it. So I'm just probably telling you stories of how it was with her last year and how she always used to be around, and we would do notes together or whatever, just trying to keep your mind busy and by extension my mind busy too.
Okay. And how about Petal?
I think Petal is like looking over at Jasmine, being like, do you think, why do you think Lara's leading us back to camp? Like, do you think she wants to go home? But isn't this her home now? What? I don't understand.
I know. I'm worried that I mean, a lot of ghosts have unfinished business. Maybe werewolves can have them too.
Are werewolves ghosts in wolves' bodies?
Oh, that's a good question. Do you think Susan would be offended if I asked her?
I don't know. Susan's been around for a long time. Maybe she knows other things.
Yeah. I think it wouldn't hurt to ask, that's for sure. But yeah, I hope whatever we find at camp, well, I hope we can help Lara.
Maybe Lara's just trying to bring us to the camp kitchen. She was looking at that sandwich.
Yeah, I don't know how to tell you this, Petal, but the sandwiches you make aren't that great. -1 friendship, okay?
Well, it's a good thing I don't make them for you. I just make them for Dog.
Dog certainly appreciates those sandwiches, right? But Dog is, at the rear of the group, only following when he kind of loses scent of the sandwich. So basically trying to stay as far away from this werewolf as possible, because Dog doesn't want to get into a fight over a sandwich. I mean, not with a werewolf, at least. So Lara leads. So I guess we don't have a map of the camp, right? But I'm imagining that there is like a car park area for drop-offs and for staff and whatever else. And she leads you to the edge of this, which is kind of at the edge of the kind of living circuit of the camp. And there's like there's kind of a line of not manicured lawn or anything like that, but there's a line between like the wilderness and something that's a little bit more taken care of. And like at that line, she stops. And then I think she very cautiously and maybe gingerly steps over the line, and then she starts to transform into a girl, right? That's what the story said, right? That when the girl comes into the camp, yeah, right, okay. So yeah, I think like she's obviously a couple of years older and looks a little bit leaner and hungrier, and probably a little bit dirtier than how you remember her, but still, it's Laura, right? Yeah, what do you do at this transformation?
So Izzy at least now has irrefutable evidence that not only ghosts, but now werewolves are real. And just has like, I'm gonna say an awestruck moment where her jaw drops and the pixie dust flower just falls out of her hair.
And how about Jasmine?
I think Jasmine looks I think she looks happy to be to see like a werewolf transformation. I think this is the first time she's seen one up close. And so she's pretty excited about it. She takes out her little notebook and she takes notes of like happened within a few moments of like, and she's gonna copy it to her grandmother's like what's it called? I'm blanking out on the term, but like the witches, but a grimoire. Yeah.
Yeah. So is this like a absolutely magical kind of instantaneous shift, or is this more like a not quite body horror, but you know what I mean, like an actual physical like rending of her wolf form into a human form, like American Werewolf in London or whatever? Is this what on the spectrum of werewolf transformations? where is it?
How many bones are cracking here?
Yeah. I think it's more like, you know how like in Twilight things look like your eyes play tricks on you, and so like parts of the body are like, oh, it's fur, no, it's hair, oh, it's skin, and that just keeps shifting and changing until there's just a girl standing in front of you.
Okay, yeah. So like maybe there's like some clouds pass over the moon, and there's like wherever the moon stops shining on, like there's a transformation going on in the shadow. Okay, cool. And yeah, like so she has her mole in the usual exact spot, and maybe it's a little bit hairier, but still it's in exactly that right spot. Okay. So for Paula and Petal, who knew Lara, what's your reaction to this?
I think Petal like does that thing where like you look at your like friend before you like or like another friend and then you like run. I think Petal's gonna like run forward to hug Lara, but then like pause right before and be like, wait, you are Lara, right? Not wolf in Lara's body now.
And I think her voice cracks a little bit because maybe it's been a while since she's spoken. Yeah, I'm Lara in Lara's body now, like Lara in human Lara's body. Yeah, it's me.
That's so great. We have been really missing you. It has not been the same in the camp this year without you. Why didn't you come back?
Well, so last year when we were leaving, something happened, and like we were here, and I was getting my stuff into the car to drive home, and my family had picked me up, and then we all we were like driven out of, there was something magical happened. I don't really understand what it was, but like the rest of my family were pushed out of the camp, like some kind of, I don't know, magic force field or something. And I think because I was standing on the line in between the camp and outside the camp, I can still come in. So there's some kind of ward or something, I don't know, keeping all of us werewolves out of the camp.
Are you
So to fill in between the lines of what she's saying, right? she's not saying that there was a magical curse that changed them into werewolves. She's implying that they were always werewolves,
Yeah.
right? And so the rest of her family are outside of this line, and they cannot transform into normal people again. So yeah, I've been trying to. I can't really abandon them because they can't change, and it's really upsetting for them to be stuck. So I haven't really been doing much except for, I mean, I've been coming back for the odd thing, but not as often I was like. And hey, you were gone for 10 months, so we yeah.
I mean, but like, this has sure happened before, or like, there's a way to fix it, right? And I think that when I ask that, I'm like slowly turning towards Jasmine, like a little, being a little inquisitive about it, if there's a way.
Yeah. Ooh, I kind of like the idea of me going through lore and then you checking. I like that move combination earlier. Maybe we could do that again. Like, I think Jasmine would say, award, huh? Something. Well, that would have to mean. Oh my gosh. I was like thinking, what's a natural enemy of a werewolf? And I thought of a vampire. Do we want to bring in vampires? Is there another enemy of a werewolf we can think of? I'm also okay with vampires.
Yeah, I mean, there's also another move that we could use, which is investigate. So when you try to identify something mysterious, so that's a basic move that everyone has.
Ooh, that's also a good point. Yeah. I think, I think I'll just start it, but I know that that Paula is our smart girl, so I'll leave her to investigate. But I do say, well, it would have to be someone who can set up wards and someone who doesn't like vampires. So I'm sorry, vampires. I didn't mean to say vampires. I was talking about werewolves. We're not bringing in vampires. You can see Jasmine like panicking a little bit. No one said vampires. No one said anything about that. Yeah, just werewolves. I'm sure it's just a thing with werewolves. Maybe yeah. No vampires.
I mean, maybe Becky knows how to fix this. She's been here forever, right? Like longer than me.
Yeah,
Maybe.
but she's old.
She must be what, 22? I mean, that's
ancient. She's practically a grandmother.
I mean, we could ask around, whether it's inside or outside the camp. I wouldn't doubt that someone has a lead on that, or what could have happened in the first place.
Paula, does your local field guide say anything maybe that might be useful?
Local field guide.
Yeah, you have your book on local flora and fauna.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, the book always says something different each time I open it, so it's a little confusing, but I'll give it a try.
So yeah, I think there's bound to be something in that book, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think you could probably use that as a springboard to make that investigate move. That sounds good for you.
Yeah, that sounds perfect. So that's
if I wanted to use the power of friendship move? Is that something that you do retroactively after somebody rolls or beforehand?
Yeah, so I don't think it says, but let me just double check. I usually say that help moves can be done after the original roll, because then you know whether it's likely to make a difference or not. Let me just double check. Yeah, it doesn't say. So I'm going to say you don't have to say you're helping until after you see what the roll is, right?
Sure.
If that's good for everyone.
Sure. So I just rolled a 5 actually, so it will be useful and helpful.
So you have a 5 total?
Yeah.
Okay. And Izzy has that special move, Max Friendship. When you successfully use the power of friendship, you get to add +2 instead of +1. So that would get you to a 7. So yeah, why don't you make that roll now, plus friendship?
Cool.
Let's see how that goes.
Okay, so Izzy shouts, "Jumpin' Jane Austen," and helps with a little research montage.
Yeah.
Oh my God, please.
All right.
We're just flipping through the book together.
Yes. Okay, cool. I got an 8 in, let's see. 8 plus friendship, 10.
There you go. So no downside, and you give Paula +2. So that brings you to a 7 on investigate, and on a 7 to 9 in investigate. The mysterious thing seems familiar. You may ask one question, and the questions are: what is this mysterious thing called? Is this mysterious thing in immediate danger? How can we best protect the mysterious thing? And does anyone else know about the existence location of this mysterious thing? So, like the flavor of those questions, we can bend a little bit to make it more relevant. Because that's the mysterious thing is the ward or the magical effect that we're wondering about. So you can ask one of those questions, or
Sure.
one question. What's one question resembling those questions?
Yeah, I think that the last one actually works, which is who knows about this and potentially can help us fix it, right?
Yeah.
In some way.
So there is. So I think you're looking through, and there's loads of like herbs and roots and such that mention, in folklore associated with, lycanthropy or with spirits of the forest or with, there's loads of little tidbits in it, but nothing really seems to look at what you're really interested in. And then like the back page of the almanac or of the guidebook is an ad for like a local magic shop in town, right? And it's visit the magic box for all your supernatural needs, right? And the proprietor of the magic shop is called Arthur Rayner. And available all day or night for your witchcraft requirements, right? Some marketing blurb, right? And I guess you've seen it before, right? But just like the rest of the field guide, it kind of changes every time you see it, right? But it's always for the magic box, right? Okay, so I think there is your person who knows about the mysterious thing.
Cool. So if that's our guy, we just need to go to the magic store in that case. Would that be like too far away from here?
So the name of the town is Frank's Bay. The closest town to Camp Flying Moose is Franks Bay, a small rural town based around mining and forestry. The locals mostly ignore Camp Flying Moose, but the businesses always appreciate the financial boom on the days the camper take field trips into town. So it doesn't say, it just says the closest town. So, but it also says Franks Bay, so maybe it's on the opposite side of the lake, right?
Right.
So yeah, I mean, I imagine that's a bit of a trek to do at night. But you know, it says open day or night, so you could definitely do it. But you could always, we could say after morning calisthenics, there is a planned field trip into town tomorrow, right? How coincidental is that?
Yeah, I think that in that case we could maybe, you know, I would start pitching it to the group and saying that, Lara, I think we can find some help from our local magical store. So what if we meet here at like 9 a.m. and just go over the other town and see if we can find something out?
Can we hide Laura in our cabin tonight?
Oh my
I
God.
mean,
Please?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
you
sure
could.
Susan wouldn't mind. She could share a bunk.
This is the
It'll be just like in the old times.
the werewolf and the werewolf and the ghost sharing the top bunk. You know, that is.
Yeah, Susan's, doesn't take up a lot of physical space.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So, yeah. Does anyone else want to do anything tonight, or we'll cut to the field trip?
I gotta talk. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I think that Izzy, as a preparation for tomorrow, given that we're all staying up late, like pre-grinds coffee and has the kettle all set to make sure that like we can establish our unhealthy caffeine fix as young girls who stay up too late and have to wake up for calisthenics.
I love Izzy. I think Petal has to talk Dog into being okay with Lara, because like Dog probably still recognizes, like maybe they have the same scent or something, and I think Petal is just sitting there like feeding Dog a sandwich, being like, it's okay, she's our friend, she won't eat you.
I think that to Dog's mind, Lara is still a wolf, right? It's like, I don't care what these eyes thing tell me. My nose is telling me something else entirely.
Yeah, and I think it can be like a very contrasting moment where I am really trying to make Lara feel at home, like asking her, "Hey, so like, how has the forest been?" or something, like trying to be casual about it. But like, meanwhile, the dog is just growling at her and being like a little aggressive, like, "You're a threat to me." Um, so yeah, maybe something of the sort.
Yeah, cool. And how about Jasmine? Anything last thing at night? Do you have to sell to Susan the idea that this werewolf is going to sleep in her bunk?
I think this is not the first time I've done this to poor Susan. So,
Okay.
But I have to make it up to her. I have to I think Susan makes me promise that I'm going to try harder to get along with everybody. I think because we were in the camp, she overheard what I said about the sandwiches. So.
Okay.
And I have to be nicer to Petal, is what she tells me.
I mean, Dog is in some respects a connoisseur of sandwiches. You know, Petals are the best sandwiches in the camp, after all. But I'm not sure what that says about everyone else's sandwich making abilities. Okay, so yeah, let's fast forward to the town, Franks Bay. So I think you're. So yeah, you have your morning torture at calisthenics, and then there's there's like a wind down exercise before everyone is going to your field trip, and some people are going to the hardware store to get stuff for projects, and some people are shopping for treats or whatever to bring back for the night, and then the five of you slip off to the magic box. So I wonder, I think Lara is still in human form and has borrowed someone's clothes, because we're just ignoring the whole wolf to human transformation nudity there. So she is still in human form in the town, and it's a little, so it's not on Main Street. It's like down a side street, which is mostly residential, but it's like a little tiny little store with mostly normal kind of everyday items in the window, but it's a magic shop, so it's probably just window dressing that people don't think it's quite so weird as it is. And then inside there's like all that weird magic stuff, and little lots of books and lots of little jars of mysterious things that couldn't possibly be natural, and like lots of there's like maybe some of those fairy forest pixie dust blossoms like in jars all by themselves, and like crystals and little ritual doohickeys for whatever you want. And kind of behind the counter there's this I don't know, maybe early to mid 30s gentleman who is kind of dressed pretty formal for this town. He's not in denim or a lumberjack shirt or something like that. That counts. He's got a normal button-down shirt and slacks. So yeah, he's ancient. 35. That is ancient. So yeah,
How
and
is he
he
still alive?
I don't know. I mean, how did he live back before there was an internet? So yeah, the bell at the on the door chimes, and he looks up and kind of looks a little bit surprised to see Camp Flying Moose girls arrive on his doorstep, but maybe not used to the usual surge of commercial activity on a field trip day. But he doesn't shoo you out or anything like that. I think it gives Lara a second look, right? But maybe that's just because she's dressed in a hodgepodge of clothes, which are obviously not her own. But obviously it's not. It's because he is determined that she is some kind of magical creature. So yeah, who is first in, or who wants to engage Arthur in conversation?
So Izzy's kind of peeling off to try to, without drawing attention, find a gift for Paula to buy with her allowance, because she is low-key threatened by Laura rejoining the group right now. Like, while Dog was growling at Laura, Izzy was kind of like identifying with Dog a little bit.
Please remain as my best friend.
Yeah, exactly. So she's just looking through everything, trying to see like, okay, what screams Paula? I gotta find just the right thing.
That's the most wholesome thing ever. Yeah, like meanwhile, I think that I'm just going to be very intimidated by the whole magical store look. Like I was definitely expecting like some red hood, rubbed, ultra long beard sort of person, and then I'm faced with this like just regular dude, right? So I think that I'm just going to start walking back towards some kind of corner and just being like, so good afternoon, sir. Are you like the magical store clerk? And I'm just going to be bumping into someone's arm so they can speak for me, like maybe Petal or something, or someone else.
Yeah, maybe like we've like in the past times when we've gone on a field trip, Petal has like gone in the store before.
Mm-hmm.
Like not just out of curiosity, like entirely out of curiosity, not for any purpose. And Petal's just like, oh, hello, Mr. Rainer. We are here to help a friend.
Cool. And Jasmine, I mean, this is probably your first time in the store, but you know, there's a lot here that looks really familiar, right? So maybe some books that you've seen in your, or you saw in your grandmother's collection, and some you know, paraphernalia that you know exactly what they're for, right? And so this, to your mind, isn't just like weird stuff. This is, you know, real magic stuff. Um, um, I'm going to come back around to Petal's question right now, but I'm wondering when I come back to you, what you will see in the store that you really want to get your hands on. Okay. So for Petal and Paula talking to Arthur, so he looks a little bit kind of thrown off by the question, right? I am the clerk of this magic store, and I am the magical clerk of this store, or the magical, yeah. I own this. I own the place. So, what kind of help are you looking for your friend? And he looks at Laura because obviously he knows that she is who you're seeking to help.
Before we go any further, we need to make sure you're a good person. What are your feelings on werewolves?
Well, generally speaking, they seem kind of dangerous to me. So I think this is a good opportunity for Petal to make friends with Arthur. I think magicians or witches count as magical creatures in this setup. Does that sound all right?
Yep.
Okay.
And that is plus friendship, which I don't have any. So that was an 8 total.
Okay. So on a 7 to 9, you make a tenuous connection with this creature. You may ask one question from the list, and you may ask a second, but you will annoy him and take -1 forward.
Let's see. I guess, what is the mood of this creature? Like, is he in a helping mood?
Yeah. So I think he is in a helping mood, right? So now, whatever he may think of werewolves, he may be mistaken, and he obviously is mistaken, but he is generally kind of a helping out kind of guy. Well, I know. I mean, we used to have quite a lot of trouble with werewolves in this town before. And you know, a lot of people used to be very worried about them. So yeah, I mean, it's interesting. It's a very interesting question. Very interesting question. and he kind of is looking again quite pointedly at Lara. That is
So, sorry.
no, you go ahead.
Yeah. So if you've had problems with werewolves in the past, does that mean you know how to solve them? Maybe.
Yeah, well, we shouldn't have any more trouble with werewolves. I mean, I took care of that.
Sorry. How so?
Well, a while back, maybe almost a year ago, I put up a ward around the camp and the town to keep werewolves outside. So yeah, we shouldn't have any more trouble with werewolves.
I am seeing a conflict of interest here.
I mean, I'm not sure what you're getting at, young lady.
I think you should maybe take that ward down.
Why do you think that?
Because at Camp Flying Moose, we're all about friendship. And if our friends happen to be werewolves, we think that you shouldn't put any wards up that might hurt our friends.
Huh.
Especially like without asking anyone about it. Like that's a little rude.
Well, I mean, I think it was the best thing to do, because a lot of people in town were frightened by these werewolves that kept showing up. So, I mean, I took care of the problem. I mean, like are you saying you're friends with werewolves and they find this kind of thing objectionable?
I think I'm going to turn to him and I say, I see that you are a man of magic. I too know a thing about magic. And I'm seeing the meme in my head anyway. And I step forward and I say, you should know, despite being an adult, that fear is only spread through ignorance. And it's very easy for people to be afraid of magic and all these other things. And we teach them. So instead of letting people be afraid and stay afraid of werewolves, don't you think we should teach people instead? And I sort of reach my hand out towards Lara to ask her to come forward while holding her hand.
So yeah, I think he offers his hand to Lara's to shake it, and kind of, even though everyone knows his name, kind of introduce himself to her and says, yeah, I mean, I guess if this has gone down the wrong way, which obviously it has, then I'm not sure how we tell the people in town. I mean, we need to convince the people in town that werewolves aren't dangerous.
Pamphlets?
I mean, yeah, I don't know. I think we need a party. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Or maybe if werewolves aren't dangerous, then I can take the wards down and then they won't notice a difference.
I mean, Izzy looks over at Izzy. Izzy, you were scared of werewolves first, right?
I was, and then I spent the night in a room with one, and I'm okay. So
So we should do that.
Have everybody spend a night with the werewolves?
Right?
Werewolf sleepover?
Oh, a sleepover with werewolves.
You're a genius.
Yeah, we did it. We've cracked the case.
So, I mean, sleepovers are the solution to all of Camp Flying Moose's problems. Maybe. So yeah, I think he is obviously convincible that he has made some kind of terrible mistake, and he takes a bit of time to be convinced, right? Because he is judging himself on things other people are scared of, and his intentions to help with that problem. So it takes a bit. He is like a worldly wizard type, so he obviously is very used to knowing better than other people and being able to enforce his will upon the world. So being talked to by 5 teenage girls is is not something he is prepared for. So yeah, I think he gathers up some stuff, and like over the course of the day, where you drive around to various points, kind of surrounding the town and the camp, and like he does some magic rituals to like turn off the ward. And this seems really interesting, I think, to everyone, especially to Jasmine. That maybe usually wards are things that protect a room or a person or a specific place, and never really this much territory. But it seemed, and maybe that's why it went a little bit wonky, where it concerns Lara. So yeah, I mean, he over the course of the day, I think he brings you around, and he maybe kind of talks through all the different rumors and hearsay and conjecture that the townspeople have shared with him over the years. And then yeah, I think the wards come down, and I think you feel like a little bit different, right? You kind of feel something happening when the final part of that ritual are enacted. And yeah, like something unusual happens apart from that feeling. Izzy, what do you see or feel differently as ward is brought down?
Ooh, so I think that there's like this smell of ozone everywhere, and maybe like a tingling in everybody's bones. Yeah, kind of like a low power electric current just kind of going through everybody.
Okay, yeah. How about Paula?
What feels different? I think that maybe there's also a bit of a different smell. Like before, it felt that we couldn't quite smell the forest, and now it feels like it's coming in, just like it would in under normal circumstances. So it's like the sort of thing you wouldn't notice it until it, comes
Until
back
it comes
the other
back,
way.
yeah. Completely, yeah. How about Petal?
I think we, like the moment the words all like the last one comes down or whatever, I think we also hear like a weird tinkling noise, like wind chimes somewhere, but like it's everywhere. It's not just like in the distance. It's like for some reason there's just like wind chimes going off now.
Awesome. And how about Jasmine? What do you notice?
Yeah, I noticed that that the ley lines start to shift in the area. Like there was a part in the camp where it was kind of sluggish, or it hadn't been flowing correctly. And I realized it was because of the wards, like sucking up some of that energy or blocking some of it. So things start to move better energetically.
Okay, cool. So, so yeah, I think Lara kind of transforms into a werewolf and like runs off into the mountains as this last ward is brought down. And maybe an hour or two later, she returns with her family, who can now transform back into humans. And I think I think you see something like Becky is there standing at the cabin, like waiting for you to come in, and like she is reading through her field manual and ticking off some boxes, and suggests a sort of welcoming barbecue, right? Because like she says this like she doesn't really believe it. Like, so Lara has arrived, her family were late, running late with some family emergency, and now she's going to join us in the camp as usual. Isn't that great? And there's a big barbecue, and her family are there in human form, and loads of people who don't know what's going on are also there. So yeah, I think it's a good opportunity to have like a quick vignette of how everyone's characters are getting on in that barbecue or later that night before we close the session. So yeah, you can go. Yeah.
Oh, I was just gonna say that Jasmine encourages Petal to make sandwiches and offers to help make the sandwiches. And I think we realize why Jasmine doesn't like Petal sandwiches, because Jasmine likes to put pickles with the peanut butter.
Turns out the real monster was Jasmine all along.
Are we surprised?
Yeah. You think you know someone, right? But you can't know anyone really. Cool. How about Petal? Anything extra apart from this great betrayal?
I think maybe after we did the like ward adventure, like maybe there's time for Petal to go get her pictures developed from her camera. So like at this welcoming barbecue, we are like, maybe we're going through the pictures that I have so far of like the first week of camp or whatever. And maybe we're like looking through them, and maybe we see something weird in one of the pictures in the background and are like, maybe we should go check that out next time.
We'll find out what that is next week. How about Paula?
I think that Paula is kind of trying to be some sort of host for the event. Like every time there's some sort of a gathering, she's going to try to be there and keep the mood going, bring people in, and yeah, just make it feel welcoming, especially for Lara's family. And there's definitely going to be a lot of that walking around the hall and also talking to the other people who have also happened to have some crazy stuff happen to them today. So yeah, it's just kind of that trying to be there for everyone in a way.
Cool. And lastly, for Izzy.
So after the barbecue, Izzy's gonna find Petal and get her help with crafting this little friendship bracelet that she got some stuff for.
I knew it was coming.
Yep. So Izzy noticed that Paula has, her necklaces and bracelets and all that. So she picked out a denim strap because overalls gang, and from the shop, a little lapis lazuli stone because it was marked as like friendship and loyalty. And so she's put together this little thing that I don't think Izzy's noticed it, but we as canny viewers notice that there's like room on the bracelet for more stuff to get added, whether that's as the friendship between these two grows or as they start adding things for the other girls in the cabin. But there's like conspicuously open spot on the bracelet.
Great. So yeah, I think unless anyone wants to add anything else, we can close the session, stop recording, and then maybe do some stars and wishes. Yeah. Okay. So see you all next time.